Thornton has had a dismal season, but Path's Sister came good after several runs the other day. She's not without a chance. Well, number 11, Meadowbrook, hasn't run since March, so it would be a bit of a masterpiece if Ian Balding could have him fit enough for a marathon like this, particularly since Meadowbrook likes to make his own running. Number 12, Actinium, was well behind Harleston Lake in the Goodwood Stakes and meets her on the same terms now. This shorter distance, I admit, might suit Actinium better, but he still only has an outside chance. Orange Hills, ridden by Richard Fox, has run 2 good races against Saffraz and wasn't beaten far by Harleston Lake at Wolverhampton. Orange Hills stays 2 miles really well, better than the pedigree suggests, in fact. Likes to be up with the leaders and has a definite each-way chance of staying among them. Number 21, Misrule, arguably the freshest runner in this field. Has only run twice this season, won over 1.5 miles at Haydock, and was then staying on really well against Saffraz over 2 miles at Ascot. The extra furlong won't bother him. Very serious candidate indeed. Well, that was earlier on in the paddock. Now, as you can see, they're down at the start. But let's get some news first from the betting ring and John McCririck.
This century in 83 runnings, 12 favourites have won the Cesarewitch, and number 21, Misrule, is certain to go off favourite. They did 10-1 in the offices this morning, 8-1 on the course. They're now showing 11-2 against Misrule, and Ladbrokes, the magic sign, have gone in and pushing the price in. 11-2 Misrule. But I go down your card, maybe you can mark them off in your paper as you're looking. Sneak Preview out from 6-1 out to 8-1. They're now calling Sneak Preview. The ground's the problem there. 9-1 against Pactolus, and all that alley money coming in. Well, the money that made it such a short price before is now out to 9-1 because there's not so much money on the track for it. Special Vintage quite tight, 14-1 Special Vintage. Money for El Conquistador, 12-1 it is now. Floyd on the walk, 7-1 it was. It's now a 10-1 chance they're calling against Floyd. Shibburn, every bookmaker on the course calls it Shipborn, but we're apparently going to call it Shibburn. That's a 10-1 chance. Over Mipard on the race cars, Harleston Lake on the walk. 12s now they're calling Harleston Lake. Misrule's the 11-2 favourite. Up above, a bit of money for Contester. Third 3 years ago. I've seen 50-1 and a bits and pieces of 66-1 against that Contester. And down at the bottom, Path's Sister. 12-1 is the very best you can get. Many bookmakers going 11, but there's no doubt Misrule is going to start favourite. 11-2, 8-1 bar the one. And that's for that Allen money and Pactolus and £500,000 the fella's giving to his wife. I've told my wife, the booby, she won't get a rock cake when I kick her out.
the most, possibly from Triptyque, the most long-suffering lady at Newmarket is Mrs. McCririck, without the slightest doubt. And I sincerely hope that she too gets a reward of some kind for her tribulations. That's Withy Bank going in, one of the ones we haven't seen who's got a real chance. After winning twice and finishing third in the Chester Cup early this season, Withy Bank was given a 2 months rest by Peter Easterby and then ran on very strongly at the finish behind Al Latham at Thirsk. He was ridden by an apprentice last time, didn't run that well for him, but has Mark Birch's strength today. That's number 8, Withy Bank, and this is number 14, Peggy Carolyn, who wears blinkers for the first time. They don't seem to be cheering her up all that much. She was only just beaten after a long struggle with Marlian at York the other day. If the blinkers could improve her a bit, she certainly wouldn't be totally without a chance, but it's the first time she's attempted anything like a distance as long as this. She's by Alias Smith out of a mare by Thatch. There might be a serious doubt about her stamina. Peggy Carolyn, apparently there's a little bit of money for her, and it's now 20-1. There's Sneak Preview in the background there. I think Withy Bank was the only serious one we've missed. Peggy Carolyn we've seen now. Contester would be a total outsider. Fedra. Now this is a tough, consistent filly. We're not looking at Fedra at the moment, but she stays really well. Lord John Fitzgerald, who's had such a good first season, well, it's not impossible that Federer might crown it for him. Misrule 11-2 now. Sneak Preview 17-2, and Factolus 9-1. 10s bar those. Federer, as I say, stays extremely well. There she is, Federer in the Stilvey colours. She's no relation to Stilvey, and as I say, she stays really well. She's not a forlorn hope. Number 19, Federer, was ridden by Richard Hills. I think those are probably the last two to go in. No, there's one there. Whoops. That's Shibben, I think, is dismounted, or is it Trombley? No, it's Shibben. Dear, oh dear, if, as we think, Shibben has spread a plate, the question will be what instructions Guy Harwood gave, whether he's signed the document which demands that his horse shall be withdrawn if it spreads a plate, or alternatively he may have signed a document saying that he would allow it to run. As you can see, there is a Blacksmith. At least, unlike some starts, they've got a Blacksmith down there. That's a good sign. So he will be, at any rate, able to take the plate off. Oh, something, I'm now told that something is wrong with the plate. If it's spread, of course, that amounts to something wrong with it, because you can't run with one side of the plate sticking out, particularly if it's on the inside. Don't know how close in we can get. Is he going to take it off? I think he is. No, he's not. He's putting in a few more pins, so that it looks as though Shibben is likely to run. These old handicappers ought not to mind standing in the stalls for a while. They're not all old, they are handicappers. Let's hear from Bruff.
Yes, John, I can confirm that even before the Blacksmith hadn't been here, and he hadn't been able to put the plate back on again, and if, for instance, now he can't solve it, the horse will be withdrawn, because Guy Harwood has taken the precaution of signing the form, which you're saying, that says that if a horse does not have all shoes on, it will be withdrawn. So, you know, in the past, it has been left that horses could run with only 3 shoes, and they've often run very badly, and trainers haven't really known about it, but they've tumbled it now. No less than 1, 2, 3, 4, I think 10 of the runners here have been would have been withdrawn if they'd lost a plate. But it does look, doesn't it, there now, as if all is going to be well. He's going to get it back on again.
Yes, if that gentleman would just get out of the way, we'd be able to see. He has done. There we are. All looks to be well. The Blacksmith has done his masterly task. Pat Eddery gets up again, and Shibben will be, we hope, inserted in the stalls. Pat Eddery had been going to ride Floyd at one time, but when Floyd became a doubtful runner, Guy Harwood snapped him up for his, well, as I said, Shibben isn't Guy's second string. I think they've probably both got chances, and certainly will both be doing their best. But the stable jockey, Greville Starkey, is on the other one. Misrule 6-1, Sneak Preview 17-2, Pactolus 9s and 10 bar those. Over to Rawley Gilbert.
Yes, John, thanks. That's it. All installed and all the way in the Cesarewitch, sponsored this year by the Tote, and run over 2 miles and a furlong. And the 25 runners streaking away round the far side of the National Stud, and the early running, of course, totally out of view of the grandstands. But as the field begins to settle down amongst the early leaders, I can see Meadowbrook right up there. El Conquistador is very prominent, so too is Dunstan on the inside. And it's Dunstan on the inside, Floyd in the centre spot, his white face, then Meadowbrook. Close up after these leaders races Marlian, not far off the pace is Ibn Majid. Milton Byrne is up there too, but it's Dunstan and Floyd, the 2 leaders, followed by Meadowbrook, now the Prudent Prince, and they've covered the first 2.5 furlongs now in the Cesarewitch, with on the inside Dunstan in company with Floyd, then Meadowbrook. Right after these, the Prudent Prince. Then races Marlian. Behind Marlian, Actinium up on the outside, and very prominent is Milton Byrne. They've covered roughly 4.5 furlongs now, and it's still Dunstan with the white cap under Steve Dawson making the running in the Cesarewitch, closely followed by Floyd and Tony McGlone, the previous anti-post favourite. Then in 3, Meadowbrook, 4, the Prudent Prince. After these, 5 is El Conquistador, 6, Marlian, 7 is Actinium. And they've now covered roughly 6 furlongs of the Cesarewitch, and still it's Dunstan who's made most of the running so far, number 20, followed by Floyd. On the outside with a white noseband is Meadowbrook, then comes the Prudent Prince, El Conquistador, Actinium, and then Marlin on the inside, Special Vintage in the spotted white cap, then Ibn Majid, and they've now covered the first 7 furlongs. So they've now got 1.25 miles to go, and it's Dunstan, Floyd and Meadowbrook, still 1, 2, 3, El Conquistador, and in the yellow with the red cap on the inside, the Prudent Prince. And they're now roughly 9 furlongs from the finish, so they're almost at halfway in the Toad Cesarewitch. And as they make round this railed part of the course, it's still Dunstan leading from Floyd. Dunstan, Floyd, Meadowbrook, the Prudent Prince, and El Conquistador. These are the leaders. And reading back behind them towards the centre of the field races Orange Hill in company with Pactolus, then the second favourite Sneak Preview, the 17-2 chance, but it's Misrule, the 11-2 favourite, then Sneak Preview and Pactolus, both at 17-2. 10s bar these 3, and they're now inside the final 7 furlongs. They're all racing against the far rails, and it's Floyd just from Dunstan, really nothing between these two, with Meadowbrook 3, then comes the Prudent Prince, Actinium and Marlian, followed by Ibn Majid, Special Vintage. Accuracy makes ground now. Still there is Milton Byrne, then Shibben making headway, Pactolus not far behind, then comes Withy Bank, Orange Hill, the favourite Misrule comes next with Fedra, and then El Conquistador, then Peggy Carolyn Blink for the first time, then Sneak Preview and Fish Pond. These are followed by Contester and Ayers Rock, and the last 3, Sweet Alexandra and the 2 greys past Sister and Harleston Lake. Racing now towards the final half mile, and it's time now to go back to the grandstands, and Graham.
As Marlian comes to take up the running from Accuracy in the yellow jacket, making ground down the centre of the track with the white cap is Withy Bank, with the black cap is Orange Hill. Behind these, Peggy Carolyn. Spotted colours of Special Vintage not that far away either. Just over 2 to go, and it's Accuracy now who strikes the front. Accuracy from Orange Hill. Withy Bank passes to the grey and behind starts to make ground. Marlian next to the rails. Misrule tracks that one. They've got 1.5 furlongs to go, and it's Orange Hill and Marlian and Accuracy and Misrule from Peggy Carolyn. Withy Bank making good ground is past Sister inside the final furlong, and it's Orange Hill now in the lead from Marlian. Misrule next to the rails. Behind these comes Accuracy and past Sister, but it's Orange Hill in the lead as it comes toward the line. Orange Hill by half a length, by a length. Orange Hill wins it. Orange Hill, Marlian and Misrule from Accuracy past Sister, then Peggy Carolyn, Withy Bank, Sweet Alexandra, Actinium, Fedra, Special Vintage, Ibn Majid, Fish Pond, Ayers Rock. Behind these came Milton Byrne, Contester, Pactolus, Meadowbrook, Harleston Lake, Sneak Preview, El Conquistador, Dunstan, the Prudent Prince, Floyd, and last of all, in fact,